Hi everyone. Today we will be discussing type 1 diabetes and its effects on mental health. Throughout the presentation, terms like type 1 diabetes, T1D, or simply diabetes will be used interchangeably. I also want to provide a little bit of a disclaimer before proceeding with this presentation. Mental health is a tough subject for a lot of people, but especially for people with type 1 diabetes. Please consume this presentation at whatever pace works best for you, and feel free to step away and practice some self-care at any point if needed. These are the objectives for today's presentation, which I will let you view on your own if desired. And this is what we'll be talking about today. So we'll start with an introduction to mental health before transitioning into the interplay between mental health and diabetes. We'll then talk about mental health strategies for adults with type 1 diabetes. And lastly, we'll discuss some mental health considerations for loved ones, meaning spouses and children, of individuals with T1D and how to care for their mental health as well. So let's first establish what mental health is. Mental health includes our emotional, psychological, and social well-being. It affects how we think, feel, and act, and helps determine how we handle stress, relate to others, and make choices. Mental health is important at every stage of life, from childhood and adolescence through adulthood. And if at any point in your life you experience mental health problems, your thinking, mood, and behavior could be negatively affected. Approximately 20% of adults in the US are experiencing mental illness, equating to nearly 50 million people. Of this population, 56%, or equivalent to 27 million adults with mental illness, do not receive the proper treatment they need. And almost a quarter of all adults with a mental illness reported that they were not able to receive the treatment they needed despite making attempts to seek treatment. Health disparities contributing to low quality or inaccessible mental health care are particularly pronounced for adults living in low-income communities, ethnic minority adults, and oppressed populations such as those defined by physical, developmental, and intellectual disabilities or chronic medical conditions such as type 1 diabetes. Mental health is fundamental to our overall well-being and can profoundly influence how we think, act, and interact in our daily lives. Good mental health enables us to face life's challenges with resilience, create strong and meaningful relationships, and make decisions that shape a positive future for ourselves and our communities. Maintaining a positive mental health and treating any poor mental health conditions is crucial to stabilizing constructive behaviors, emotions, and thoughts. Focusing on mental health care can increase productivity, enhance our self-image, and improve relationships. Benefits of taking care of your mental health include improved mood, reduced anxiety, increased productivity, and the ability to cope with stress. Furthermore, for people with chronic illness, such as type 1 diabetes, it is important to concurrently be caring for their mental health. Research suggests that people who have mental disorders and other medical illnesses tend to have more severe symptoms of both illnesses, which often leads to medical complications and, in turn, higher healthcare costs. Therefore, treating mental illness and chronic illness together can help people more effectively manage both their mental health and their physical health. Many different factors can influence mental health. Biological or genetic factors can play a huge role, meaning a family history of mental illness, especially if one of your parents has a known mental disorder. Additionally, being diagnosed with one mental health disorder puts you at an increased risk of developing another one. A diagnosis of a chronic medical condition such as diabetes can also negatively affect mental health. Exposure to a traumatic event can also negatively affect mental health, and this can include things like military combat, assault or other forms of abuse, being involved in a serious accident, or natural disasters. The abuse of substances such as alcohol and prescription or recreational drugs can also have a negative influence on mental health. Some prescription drugs could also carry side effects that impact mental health themselves. Social factors also play a large role in influencing mental health, and this includes things like the quantity and quality of relationships with friends and family, as well as socioeconomic factors including debt, housing stability, and work-life balance. Stigma and discrimination can also worsen mental health outcomes. This includes stigma based on mental illness itself, or discrimination based on personal factors such as race, sexual and gender identities, age, or nationality. It can come from society, employers, the media, and even your own friends and family. You may even experience internalized stigma, where you come to believe the negative messages or stereotypes about yourself. Lastly, media consumption has become an increasingly concerning area regarding how it can impact mental health. News, social media, and other forms of media are leading to issues regarding stress and body image for many adults, but starting as early as adolescence. We'll now discuss the interplay between diabetes and mental health. Mental health affects so many aspects of daily life: how you think and feel, handle stress, relate to others, and make choices. Therefore, having a mental health problem could make it harder to stick to your diabetes care plan. Thoughts, feelings, beliefs, and attitudes can affect how healthy your body is. People who have diabetes, because it is one of the most cognitively and behaviorally taxing chronic medical conditions, may be especially susceptible to developing mental health disorders. Untreated mental health issues can make diabetes worse, and problems with diabetes can make mental health issues worse. Despite this, it is estimated that only 25 to 50% of people with diabetes who experience mental health challenges actually receive the necessary treatment. Fortunately, effective treatments, both involving or not involving medication, are available that can improve both mental health and diabetes management. While a T1D diagnosis does not guarantee a mental health diagnosis, it does put you at an increased risk of developing symptoms and being diagnosed with one. In that instance, early recognition and treatment is crucial for your well-being and ensuring that you can maintain not just your diabetes care, but also well-being in all other areas of your life. The most common mental health conditions among individuals with T1D are listed here. The most common one being diabetes distress, which is often characterized by general feelings of frustration, exhaustion, or worry regarding daily diabetes care. It is estimated that up to 50% of individuals with diabetes experience diabetes distress regularly. Anxiety and depression are also common among adults with T1D. Anxiety has been estimated to be found within 40% of individuals with T1D, and it is estimated that 25% of adults with T1D experience depression, a rate approximately 2 to 3 times that of non-diabetic counterparts. Anxiety is often characterized by restlessness, panic attacks, irrational fears, trouble sleeping, or having intense feelings of impending doom, danger, or panic. Depression in adults can have mild to severe symptoms, including feeling sad or empty, losing interest in favorite activities, having trouble concentrating or making decisions, fatigue or feeling overly tired, or thoughts of suicide and death. Next, we'll talk about some mental health strategies for adults who are also diagnosed with diabetes. All of the following mental health treatments, in line with the philosophy and scope of occupational therapy, are non-pharmacological, meaning they do not involve the use of prescription medications. Journaling is the act of keeping a record of your personal thoughts, feelings, insights, and more written down. It can be written, drawn, or typed. It has been shown to have positive effects on increasing self-awareness, reducing anxiety, and regulating emotions. The two primary forms of journaling used in psychotherapy are expressive writing and gratitude journaling. Expressive writing is a journaling technique in which one writes about their deep thoughts and feelings for up to 20 minutes per session. A gratitude journal, on the other hand, is a diary of accounts for which one is grateful and where attention is focused on the positive aspects of one's life. If you are new to journaling, it can sometimes feel daunting and hard to navigate where to start. Fortunately, there is no hard set rule on what you should write or for how long. So when you're first starting out, keep it simple. Journal only for a few minutes at a time of day that's good for you, whether that's first thing in the morning or the last thing you do before going to sleep. If you do not like writing, get creative with your journaling by creating lists, poetry, songs, letters, or through drawing art. There are also journaling prompts online that can provide a starting point for you. Meditation is a type of mind-body complementary medicine. It is a practice in which an individual uses a technique such as mindfulness or focusing the mind on a particular object, thought, or activity to train attention and awareness and achieve a mentally clear and emotionally calm and stable state. There are many different meditation techniques that vary from simple to more complex, but it's best to start with a simple practice that you can work into your regular routine over time. You can do this daily at the same time, even if it's just a few minutes to start out. Over time, you will build discipline and skill with this practice. There are also thousands of guided meditation videos or audio clips available online to follow if you need a starting point. Support groups or any other kind of group therapy have demonstrated great benefits for people with chronic illness, including reduced stress, better coping strategies, the ability to share experiences and learn from each other, reduced feelings of isolation and stigma, and an increased sense of empowerment. Many nonprofit organizations such as JDRF, as well as individual members of the T1D community, offer support group options. Participation in physical or leisure activities, whether that's an adult amateur sport league, volunteering, gardening, adult learning courses, or participation in any other preferred activity, has demonstrated hugely positive mental health effects. Physical activity can produce benefits such as reduced medical expenditures, improved quality of sleep, and decreased rates of depression, all of which can positively impact mental health. Research has also shown that those who regularly participate in a hobby or leisure activity experience lower levels of anxiety and depressive symptoms and increased feelings of belongingness and community. Lastly, it's not listed on this slide, but I want to also talk about how referral to a psychologist may be beneficial if you require extra assistance. A psychologist is a healthcare professional who studies mental states, cognitive and emotional processes, and behavior. This is not to be confused with a psychiatrist, which is a physician that prescribes medications for mental health disorders and requires a referral. Therapy might be a helpful step in developing coping skills to overcome the challenges faced by depression, anxiety, burnout, and stress associated with T1D care. If you find yourself lacking the motivation to check your blood sugar or take insulin, having trouble navigating your relationships with friends and family, or blowing off hobbies or activities that you normally wouldn't want to miss out on, it may be time to seek out the services of a psychologist. Therapy is much more widely available today with in-person and online platforms available, and with most major insurance providers at least partially covering psychology services. The last thing we're going to cover today is mental health considerations and interventions for loved ones of adults with diabetes. Spouses and children of an individual with a chronic illness such as T1D play a crucial role in disease management. To maintain a normal life, partners with a chronically ill spouse are often involved in spouse's daily activities. Additionally, 4 to 12% of children grow up in a household where a parent has a chronic illness. A warm and supportive home environment with good family communication in general has been linked to better chronic illness outcomes, including better illness management. However, living with an individual with chronic illness can also create challenges and be stressful. Some studies have reported positive outcomes concerning parental chronic illness, including strengthened interpersonal relationships and increased maturity among children. But many more studies have indicated that parental chronic illness increases the risk of reduced family functioning and social, emotional, and behavioral problems in children and adolescents. The risk of adverse outcomes in children may increase with the severity of the parent's illness, indicating that it is important for adults with T1D to manage their condition effectively. It is suggested that this burden often affects daughters greater than sons, and as children grow into adolescence, they are more likely to show symptoms of anxiety and depression, as well as displaying withdrawn behaviors. For romantic partners, although it may be considered natural to assist one's ailing spouse, providing care affects the caregiving partner in different ways, including limited time for own interests, reduced quality of life, and experiencing stress, anxiety, or depression have all been reported. All of this suggests that it is equally important to address the mental health of spouses and children in these households. Spouses and other romantic partners are encouraged to partake in the mental health strategies previously mentioned in this presentation. This includes attending support groups of therapy sessions with their partner and completing their own journaling. When it comes to addressing children's mental health, please refer to the associated presentation on this website for more information and strategies. These are my references for this presentation. And thank you so much for watching.